The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation promotes, preserves, and perpetuates music, culture, and heritage through programs, cultural, educational, and economic activities year-round. Learn more at jazzandheritage.org. This program is brought to you in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support education, the arts, and culture in the greater New Orleans area. The Chicory House Bistro at the Rink offers breakfast and lunch daily. And now a new bar upstairs inside the Garden District Bookshop, 2727 Britannia Street at Washington Avenue. Learn more at therinknola.com.
I'm Peggy Scott Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out, with updates from the local restaurant, arts, and entertainment scenes. Joining me, what a show, Damon Melancon, artist and big chief of the Young Seminole Hunters. Welcome to our table again, Damon.
Thank you for having me.
Great to see you, dear.
Thank you
Hello.
so much.
Hey. Poppy Tucker, host of Louisiana Eats on WWNO Radio. Hi.
Hey, Peg.
Hello, my dear. He's back, Scott Galante, the mild-mannered president of the crew of the Rolling Elvi, here to tell us all about their future plans for the next few weeks. Hello, good to see you. Hey. And Alan Smason, editor of the Crescent City Jewish News and theatercriticism.com, and happy birthday.
And I'm all shook up, right?
You're all shook up. And Poppy, kindly introduce just two more, right? King cakes.
You know, it's sort of, we're here today, the last stepping out before Carnival.
Yeah.
And we have the Alpha and the Omega in a way. And so the Alpha, the new king cake, maybe it's the Omega. This is the Muses king cake. This is the Muses goddess. It was created at Noka to celebrate the Muses' 25th anniversary.
Oh.
It has the flavors of Greece, which is goat cheese and fig with candied citrus and
look at
orange
that.
peel. And it all benefits all their king cakes to the Noka's Culinary Arts program. And you know, I'd like to point out that that king cake program was started by my dear friend Steve Himmelfarb and his wife Becky. After they closed Cake Cafe, Steve always needed something to do, and that's why his famous goat cheese and apple king cake was there for so long. Now, this beauty is only available until Muses Thursday, February 27th, and it's available at King Cake Hub and, of course, at Noka. But you better take my advice and order in advance online, because I think they're flying out the door. And that, it's where everything started, the Mackenzie's King Cake. I went there the other day. This is a buttermilk drop king cake, okay? It is nothing more than buttermilk drops tied together with the purple, green, and gold. It looks like a bead necklace, and it's a brilliant thing for morning parade route eating, because you don't even need a knife. So they're available at the original Mackenzie's. They're available at those tasty places on Harrison, also Transcontinental and Clearview. And of course, everybody's getting ready to start parading uptown. So if you're parading uptown and you have a little time between parades, I strongly suggest that you head over to Chi-Chi's Chicken and Beer on Ferret Street. It is in such a sweet little spot right there where Windowsill Pies used to be. They have cocktails. They have soju. They have wings you wouldn't believe. Now, they have outdoor seating and they're super quick turnover, but truly, how could Chi-Chi's not be cool? It's Vito Garcia. That's Adolfo Garcia's son. So that's Adolfo the third, and his fiancée, Sophia Petru, who happens to come from the Russell's Marina Grill family. So this is sort of a delicious, affordable cultural mashup of Korean fried chicken being the theme, but along with Japanese sushi sandos. It's all about this gochujang, which is a fermented red chili paste base of sweet and spicy, delicious Korean-style barbecue sauce. It is something else on their extra crispy double fried wings, and it's a Korean tradition. beer towers. So that's another thing you can go have a beer tower there, and their desserts. And anyway, another quick carnival idea. Mr. Mao, right over there at Tchoupitoulas and Napoleon, is offering the next Sundays until Mardi Gras the Krewe of Dim Sum Brunch. This is a family-style meal for two. It's only $50. You get 7 great dim sum selections, and don't miss the Krewe of Dim Sum Brunch. I want to eat there.
Well, I have a quick culinary PS, and we want to show you the champagnes, which of course are those desserts, and the oyster patties, all from Swiss Bakery. And it's also a king cake and a cupcake. And thank you to my friend Maria Cachetta, who brought that over to us. But Swiss Bakery, of course, so much fun and kind of light fare too. And I've got to show you next week when the coup d'etat takes to the streets, lots of incredible throws, but culinarily speaking, look at this. We've got a cocktail shaker. We've got old-fashioned glass koozies and a bar towel. So there you have it. Look for the coup d'etat. On to Damon. Damon, I've known you since you were a little boy.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Anyway, it's great to see you. And
Wonderful.
of course, you were a big chief of a
Yes,
Mardi Gras Indian tribe, but you also full-time, you create those wonderful beaded items, these
Yes,
beaded patches, and they're on view. For many years, you've been associated with Arthur Roger Gallery.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're going to take a look at some of the pictures of you when you're sewing,
All right.
because we should remind everybody that all this is by hand.
Yes, ma'am. I sew from 7 in the morning to sometimes 1 in the morning at night, late, every day, and I've been doing that. I've been blessed to be a full-time contemporary artist, and now I do it every day, all day, and that's just, I love it.
And so here we go. We got you. Look at that. Yeah, by hand. By hand is the operative word there. And of course, much of that time is spent on your costume. But then, as we said, and we're going to show your costumes over the years. Look at that. Oh, that is a gorgeous, gorgeous photo.
Me and my spy boy, beating on the drum. Yeah, he brought me out every year. He bring me out, and his signature thing sometimes, he always wears slippers.
Yeah. Now, I know that you are actually not going to be masking this year,
Yes,
but where will your tribe be? What neighborhood?
Oh, so we're going to be uptown. We're going from
Uptown.
downtown. We're going to go uptown. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
and
Yep.
let's also show some of the patchwork. Would you call it beaded panels?
Yeah, I call them, so that's one of my aprons right there. Red Cloud and Sitting Bull. I beaded that one in 2013. That's my first big chief piece right there. Yeah, so I like to use the smaller beads and bead the biggest piece. Yes,
And
indeed.
you've also been focusing on, AKA Elton John.
Yes, ma'am. So this piece is traveling in my solo show as Any Means Are Necessary. It'll be showing in the African American Museum in Philadelphia in March. And so I'm very excited about this piece traveling because I love doing it.
And this is your mask series?
Yes, ma'am. This is an Ashanti mask. I have 8 of these that are traveling in the show also.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And this is something new that me and my wife Alicia started doing not long ago.
Wow. And these are available through Arthur Roger Gallery. And how long
Yes,
have you
ma'am.
been with the gallery? It's been a while.
It's been about 7, 8 years now. It's been a blessing. Yeah, I love Arthur. He's been looking out for me for a long time now.
And you have a really good website. So
Yes,
if folks
ma'am.
want to learn more about you or contact you, that's the way to do it.
DeMonMelancon.com.
Okay.
Yes,
Please give my best to your mom, too.
Thank you so
Love
much.
her.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great to be with you here. And moving over for something completely different.
Tough
Mardi
act to
Gras
follow.
related,
Yeah.
But anyway, hello, dear Scott.
Hi, Peggy. How are you?
Fine, fine. Presidente of the Rolling Elvi. And what year is this now?
What year we've been around? We formed in 2003. First parade was 2004, so technically this is their 21st parade year.
If incredibly someone is not familiar with them, okay, we're talking about guys who dress as Elvi
Oh, yeah.
through certain iterations of his career.
Yeah,
Okay.
we sort of honor him
And
differently.
on scooters in parades.
That's right.
Okay.
We paraded 4 Mardi Gras parades, and then we're all over the place during the year. We're a pretty active
Yeah,
group.
you do the Christmas parade,
We do.
Crew of Boo.
That's right.
You know, and we're going to show some of this activity. How many
Yeah,
members do you have?
So we've got about 290 90 some odd members total. I think our biggest, our rolling members, someplace in the mid 150s.
Wow. Now you also have some subgroups within the
We
crew.
do.
The Jailhouse Rockers. Tell me
That's
about
right.
them.
They're sort of a coordinated dance group. I'm going to use coordinated loosely. They're fantastic. They have a great time, and they're really the fresh energy for fundraisers and stuff. And then, of course, we have our Priscillas and their subgroup, the Ann Margarets.
Yes.
And then our security group, how you get into the crew, is our Memphis Mafia. That's sort of your first year when you're a provisional member.
Now, what I like, though, is, as you said, you do stuff year-round,
We do.
including a blood drive by
Yeah,
Tipitina's.
That's gotten
Interesting.
huge. Yeah, my good friend Doug Marshall, who was the former president before I got here when I was captain, he has formulated this blood drive, and it's at Tipitina's in the summertime, and we have a dance-off with all the other dancing crews, and it's marqueed by our Jailhouse Rockers. It's so much fun, and it's generally on a Sunday when nothing else is going on.
Well, what's neat is it's sort of there's the Rockers. There you go. It's kind of an all-day affair because in between, perhaps donating blood, there are all these music groups and these other
Yes.
Mardi Gras walking groups come and join you, don't they?
It's a dance-off, so each of the
as you said,
dance
it's a
crews will come in
dance-off.
and
Okay.
have their turn, and then by applause, and we have music, and meanwhile, we're raising incredible amounts of blood. The blood bank loves us. We raised over 150 units this year.
Oh my God, that's a
Awesome.
lot.
Oh, yeah,
That's
that
a
was
lot.
great. Yes,
Now
indeed.
tell us about your parade schedule. This is exciting.
So we start tomorrow night. The Jailhouse Rockers are in Cleopatra, uptown, and then Sunday we are doing King Arthur. We're behind Float 10. We're excited about that position this year. They've been great. And then going into Thursday night, our original position in Muses. We never know where we're going to be, but we know we are going to be. And then we finish off, as Alan knows, with Iris. And generally, we're near the very front of that parade on the final Saturday before everything wraps
Well,
up.
very good. And if someone wants to be an Elvi,
They got to get to rollingelvi.org. You can
Okay.
send us an email. We'll tell you where we're going to be, so you can come meet some folks. And all it takes is a nomination or two from a member.
all right. Well, once again, it's great to see you.
Thanks
my
so much
friend.
for having us.
Okay, yes. And moving over to Alan. Alan, we love your tie.
Thank
an
you.
homage
Well,
to the Indians.
for those who can see it, at least, it is an homage to the Mardi Gras
Well,
Indians.
we'll get another shot.
Anyway,
Okay.
so
yeah.
I just want to mention that during the recent Super Bowl festivities, one of the members of the New Orleans theater community, Anthony Bean, was recognized for his work with children in theater. And here you see him with Demario Davis on the left, the New Orleans Saint, and Anthony, two of the 6 recipients of the Ombi Award, which was originally started by the NFL Mothers. Anthony Bean accepted that award with grace. And here's the award, if you want to see. It's only presented in a Super Bowl host city to a deserving group of individuals, some of whom may not be local. So congratulations to Anthony, first off. Now, closing this weekend is Agatha Christie's Murder on the Nile, a play written by the mystery writer based on the Death on the Nile novel, but without Belgian detective Hercule Poirot. While it seems that Christie was trying to distance herself from the character she created, Jimmy Murphy here has to assume the role of the sleuth who has to figure out who commits murder on a cruise on the Nile River. Chris Shaw is the director, and he's capable, but there's just too much exposition in this. Jonathan Maris there, Gabriella Santalia, and Kendall Berry are the 3 elements in a triangle that ultimately leads to murder. Janet Shea and Leon Convespri also provide some amusement with their roles, but there's really not enough of them to go around to make up for this murder mystery that never seems to rise above the droll. This play is a bit long in the tooth, though, and it seems to be really in need of a strong detective character that a Miss Marple or Hercule Poirot would have provided. For Agatha Christie to have left Poirot out, one of her best characters, is not only a crime, but something for which she was obviously in denial. All right. The play closes this weekend. Now, we will not be returning until mid-March, so quickly, Peg, I want to recap some of the upcoming shows that will be on the boards just before we return. First of all, Melissa Manchester. Yes, that Melissa Manchester on the left here plays Fanny Bryce's mother, and Helen Shankman plays Fanny in the national tour of Funny Girl opening on March the 11th at the Sanger Theater. And then opening up for the first time as a local production will be Jersey Boys at Le Petit Theater. It's co-directed by A.J. Allegra, who just directed Goodnight Oscar, and John A. Buisson, who made her debut as a director with last year's Beautiful. She's going to choreograph as well. The show opens on March the 13th, and it's running a full month too. Do not miss this. The tempestuous love story between baseball legend Joe DiMaggio and movie star icon Marilyn Monroe will be seen on stage in West Wego with Joe and Marilyn. That opens on March the 13th. And then in addition, we've got some wonderful things that are going to be happening that we wanted to mention. The New Orleans Opera is going to have. But first, let me mention Once Upon a Mattress. Once Upon a Mattress is going to be at Rivertown Theaters. And again, those of you who have not seen that, go check it out. It's a wonderful retelling of The Princess and the Pea story. So again, I wanted to get to the story about the New Orleans Opera. They have their whole season that they just did 6 different productions. Last year, they only had 3. They've doubled the number of productions they're going to do.
Okay.
So in addition to Richard Strauss's Der Rosenkavalier and Handel's The Messiah, about a production of Terence Blanchard's Fire Up Inside My Bones, they will have coming up the Elixir of Love. That's going to be coming up on Friday, and it's the presentation there that you see with Amanda Shaw. She is going to be involved in this. They're taking the whole show of Elixir of Love and transporting it into a cowboy Cajun setting. So this is going to be amazing. Check that out. Okay, and then again, we have, as I mentioned, some other things. The Piety and Desire is the intersection of piety and desire. That is their theme for this next season. And then, as I mentioned, the Rosenkavalier, Handel's Messiah, Terence Blanchard's Fire Up Inside My Bones, and of course, we all know Terence Blanchard, what a great, tremendous talent that he is. And then among the later highlights in the season, Dialogues of the Carmelites. If you've never seen this, a really riveting performance will star Mother Phyllis, and see, they're right there at the New Orleans Opera. You can see it right behind them. And daughter Emily Tragle, who will be honoring the memory of their father and grandfather, Norman Tragle, when they officially dedicate the fountain at the Mahalia-Jackson Theater with a plaque just in time for Norman's 100th birthday.
All right, great. And do you have your whistle?
I do, as a matter of fact. Those of you who don't know, and there's Emily, the whistle is what opens and has opened and closed at least 300 Mardi Gras balls.
And that you have covered and you've narrated.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I'll be doing some this week, and of course next week. And as it rolls in, it's the roller coaster.
All righty. And speaking of Mardi Gras, of course, on Mardi Gras Day, the Rex organization will present their historic parade. Here is a sneak preview. It's hard to resist saying ooh la la when describing the 2025 Rex Parade. One of the brightest moments in French history is being celebrated in a city that used to be its colony.
So we always talk about New Orleans being America's most European city, but in reality, at its heart, it's a French city. And if Paris and New Orleans weren't sibling cities, sister cities, especially in the early centuries, they were awfully close cousins. And the interplay between Paris and New Orleans was constant.
Belle Epoque was my proposed theme, and it was very exciting. It's a era of art that I've always really loved. Some of my favorite artists come out of this period. And when I first started working on Mardi Gras floats and poring over those beautiful designs from the kind of golden age of Mardi Gras in the 19th century and early 20th century, I realized that there's such a correlation between those early designs and what was happening in Paris at the time with Art Nouveau and all these kind of decorative arts and design that was coming out of there.
If we were telling the story of La Belle Epoque, we had to tell the story of the Moulin Rouge, and we had to have a can-can dancer, and it turned out beautifully. Now, the artist that did the can-can dancer on the front of the float is a costume designer. So he was able to translate corrugated cardboard into beautiful flowing dresses and laces and corsets, and it really turned out very well.
Artists and artisans of the day represented include French resident Vincent van Gogh, with the combination of his iconic Starry Night and Sunflowers paintings. A perfect complement to the theme is the Aigle Degas float, complete with his signature ballet dancer. Indeed, the French-born artist had New Orleans roots and visited in late 1872 and early 1873. Caroline Thomas has her favorite floats.
Well, the one behind me with René Lalique, who was a jewelry designer at the time and did all this beautiful work with glass. I'm particularly proud of it just because it was a lot of creativity from the team of figuring out how to take paper mache and make it look like jewels and rendered metal. Another float that I'm really proud of is we have an Alphonse Mucha float, who is a poster artist, graphic artist at the time.
Very influenced by the popularity of the Art Nouveau style in France during La Belle Époque was American Louis Comfort Tiffany. That float is also a favorite.
But a beautiful peacock feather, really evocative of his stained glass work. And the feathers droop down over the front of the float. I especially love the float devoted to Marie Curie. Marie Curie is the only person, man or woman, who has earned 2 Nobel Prizes in different disciplines, in science and in physics. Her story is worth telling, and the float does that beautifully. There's on the top of the float, there are pages of her notebook that are actually taken from one of her original notebooks.
The parade spotlights France's great gift to America during La Belle Époque.
It was a time when empires and kingdoms were transitioning to republics and democracies. But there was one new kingdom that emerged right about that time, and that was the King of Carnival right here in New Orleans during Mardi Gras. And so on the back of the Statue of Liberty float is a little plaque that honors the fact that that new kingdom was emerging right about that time.
In addition to the parade, philanthropy has become very much a part of the mission of the Rex organization.
One of my very favorite days in this beautiful den is when we gather educators and students here to award grants from the Pro Bono Publico Foundation. We have now invested more than $15 million since Hurricane Katrina in our public schools to assure that every child can attend an excellent school. This sustained commitment is so consistent with the motto, Pro Bono Publico, and with the reason Rex was formed in the first place, Pro Bono Publico, for the public good.
Near the end of the parade will be the Royal Barge, a signature float seen annually. It now has a French tie-in as well.
This year, we've rechristened our royal barge La Badine. Now, La Badine was the boat that Iberville commanded when the explorers came up the Mississippi River to settle the city of New Orleans. They got off La Badine on Mardi Gras Day, 1699, and they celebrated the very first Mardi Gras in what would be Louisiana in the New World at Pointe de Mardi Gras, right on the Mississippi River. And so we couldn't help but rechristen our royal barge in honor of Iberville as La Badine.
Let's raise a toast to Rex's rendition of La Belle Époque. Popular with artists of the day was a potent libation called absinthe, nicknamed the Green Fairy. Yet another local connection, for absinthe was once an ingredient in an ancient version of New Orleans' very own Sazerac. All right, the parade starts at 10:30 a.m. at South Claiborne and Napoleon Avenues, Mardi Gras Day, and of course on the St. Charles Avenue route, rexorganization.com for details about the crew and its history. Special thanks to Lenny Delbert and Mark Moore for their wonderful efforts on that feature. Time for picks, Poppy.
If you are looking for a Mardi Gras Friday tradition, there's an annual luncheon at Plates on Annunciation. There's going to be live music, face painting, costumes, 11:45 till 3 p.m. Sounds like a great new tradition to me.
All right, Alan.
Well, the Louisiana Philharmonic Orchestra has a couple of things coming up. First off, a live concert of Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's the very first Indiana Jones movie, and they're going to do it live in concert. That'll be on Saturday, March the 8th at the Mahalia Jackson Theater for the Performing Arts. And then over at the Orpheum Theater, which is their home, of course, the Dvorak Cello Concerto will be played by Joshua Roman with Maestro Matthew Kramer conducting. That'll be on Thursday, March the 13th. I'll see you at the theater.
Thank you. Now my picks. But first, Tom Fitzmaurice covered the restaurant scene on Steppin Out for almost a decade. Right after this show tonight, Thursday, we'll present a special half-hour tribute to Tom that includes some of his restaurant features and interviews for so many local documentaries. Dominic Massa, WYES Executive Vice President and COO, and a longtime friend of Tom, and I will share some memories of Tom. There will be 2 visitations for him, one Friday from 5 to 8 p.m. at Lake Lawn Metairie Funeral Home, and then the next morning on Saturday from 9 to noon at the Jesuit Chapel of the North American Martyrs. That's part of Jesuit High School, 4133 Bank Street. Now picks for a complete schedule of WYES Mardi Gras programs, and there are a lot of them. Go to wyes.org/Mardi Gras. The 33rd annual NOLA Design Costume Bazaar will take place on Saturday from noon to 5 p.m. at the Always Lounge and Cabaret at the corner of St. Claude and Marigny Streets. The bazaar showcases some of New Orleans' most inspired costumers, hatters, mask makers, and purveyors of vintage costumes, including the highly respected hat maker and designer Krewe. Longtime New Orleans broadcaster Dennis Waltering is, Andrea Mistretta, let me tell you about her. She is actually trying to gather support for a retrospective of her 40 years of working on art. And so if you'd like to help her out, Andrea Mistretta Studio at gmail.com or MardiGrasGraphics.com if you want to help her out on that. Dennis Waltering, our pal, longtime producer and anchor for WWL and now doing stuff on his own. He is working on a documentary focusing on the images and memories of West End and the Darlington Fountain right there in the middle of West End Park. He'd love to hear from folks, whether it's memories, images, anything you got. Contact Dennis at 504-250-3611, including like the club My Oh My. I mean, there's so many things. Fitzgerald's, I mean, all kinds of really great things. But he's working on the documentary, which will eventually air on WYES, which would be absolutely fine. And we have so many things going on, my gosh. But always lots of fun, too. Now, we have just one moment. I wanted Scott, though, to show some show and tell of some of the wonderful items that you all are going to be handing out.
So this year we're doing a Vegas theme, so keep an eye out for our voodoo dolls. There's the Elvis and the Priscilla. And, of course, we're doing cards. These are kind of squeezy dice. And the fuzzy dice are important. And you can always get a little hotel room key, which is what you look forward to when you're in Vegas. So in all the parades, there's all kinds of stuff. We'll have those things.
All right. Well, thank you all very much. And happy Mardi Gras.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. Good night.
Throw me something,
Throw me
mister.
something. Throw me something.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation promotes, preserves, and perpetuates music, culture, and heritage through programs, cultural, educational, and economic activities year-round. Learn more at jazzandheritage.org. This program is brought to you in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support education, the arts, and culture in the greater New Orleans area. The Chicory House Bistro at the Rink offers breakfast and lunch daily. And now a new bar upstairs inside the Garden District Bookshop, 2727 Britannia Street at Washington Avenue. Learn more at therinknola.com.